The Everything Joe Show. Joe Show. Joe Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, to another segment, or two segments rather, to the Everything Joe Show. This time on the Joe Show, it's going to be everything, not really, but almost. We're going to look at two more segments of stuff from the past, just like we did with looking at the pool the other day. This time we're going to look at two more things. One that I did with my friend Mark. This was when we decided that we want to build our own sled. And then, of course, another with my friend Eric, where we decided that we would venture off into some more extreme land of backyard wrestling. So, in our first segment today, might as well get started. My friend Mark and I decided that we would, just look at. We were getting bored, and of course, as we always do, get bored. We dug a pool, hell, from there. So we decided that we'd go and we'd build a sled. We didn't just want to have no regular sled that you could just go and take out and pull around on the four-wheeler or anything, or go down a hill on. We wanted to make something that had some comfort to it. Yeah, so as you can see here, there, we decided to take a recliner and attach it to a wooden crate. Take a wooden crate and then, of course, put some pond liner and stuff on the bottom of this crate. And then we tie it up to the four-wheeler and then pull everybody around behind the four-wheeler. So actually, it was really fun the first time we got going with it. Our first trial run that we took from Mark's house near Tony and took it straight up and went to the turnaround, took a drive there, and came back down the hill. Then just from there we decided we'd go a little bit more crazier with it and take it out to one of the fields where we used to live out, on the dirt roads, take it out on the back roads there. So we took it out there and we just cruised around, as you can see in the following video here, and the little clips are attached here within. And so we did that, and as you can see, I'm a pretty crazy driver on a four-wheeler. Obviously, pretty much lose most of my four-wheeler privileges, or privileges, for the Espanol. So, but yeah, so we do that, and the sled actually, unfortunately, with our recliner, didn't last too long after all this, go figure. And what happened is the sled met its ultimate fate when we went up behind one field and we were pulling the sled around. And of course, one thing we found out is sleds on crates with plastic do not go up against frozen cow turds in a field. So it hit the cow turd and just flew off the back and busted the back off, and that was pretty much the end of our sled adventure there. So, but still a good time nonetheless, as you can tell by the video. Alright, it's now time for the sounding off part of the Everything Joe Show. This is where Joe, that would be me, gets his chance to sound off of what's bothering him right the hell now. So, anyway, just a little of the things that are on my agenda or whatever that's on my mind that I like to talk about. Of course, probably most of these have to do with my place of employment, which, like I said before, I'm not going to name fingers nor point names, but we can still get the gist, obviously, of what the hell's going on. So, from here, we'll just take it back to this past graveyard I actually had to work. So, in the past few weeks, we've had this gentleman that comes in every once in a while, and I would not go as far to say he's homeless. That might be a correct term, or a bum, which probably isn't the really politically correct term. But he's kind of annoying. And so the first times that he came in was, I seen him maybe a week or a week and a half ago, and he comes up, and I just as assume as every customer, you never know how the transaction thing you're going to do with this person's how it's going to go, and they walk up to you, and of course I read my opening line, as I do with everybody, and I was, "How you doing today?" Which sometimes can come back to bite you in the ass because you have some holes who don't really like to just roll with the flow and get the hell out, get your shit and get the hell out of there kind of thing. They have to go, "Oh, I'm not doing too good." I'm like, dude, I really don't give a shit. I'm just trying to be nice. I digress. So anyway, I have my opening line there. And so he comes up and he's like, "Oh, not too good." He's like, "Somebody stole my Fender guitar." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm sorry." And he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "somewhere around Butte, Montana or whatever, somebody stole my guitar," and all that. And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Well, there you have somebody looking for it." He's like, oh yeah, I got the cops on it and all this. I'm like, well, that's good. He's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get a ride back to Butte. I'm like, oh, well, hopefully I find that. So anyway, that was last week. Speed up to this week. So I work in my graveyard shift among half these shifts that I work. And of course, in comes, I actually was just cleaning, just doing some regular cleaning there, and it's probably around 2:30 or 3 in the morning. And dudes are cleaning, look up, and so I see some guy come through the door, and I go, oh, how you doing tonight? Just to acknowledge that they're there, so hopefully they don't steal half the shit and run out the door, or, try to him, just take it out, buddy, whatever. And and so it comes to the door there, and how you doing? And he goes, oh, not too good, somebody stole my Fender guitar, and I'm thinking, oh, son of a, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh god, so I'm like, oh, that's no good, I just roll with the punches. And so I get up there, I'm waiting on this guy, so he comes up there and waiting on him, and he goes, yeah, he's like, it's awfully rough, losing my guitar and all this, but I'm still trying to get back to Butte. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then he goes, oh, has the preacher come in tonight? I'm like, no, I haven't seen a preacher, I'm graveyard shift, and typically not going to see something like that. And he goes, well, he's giving me a ride over to Butte. I'm like, oh, well, that's nice of him and everything. And he goes, yeah, it's a sad thing about my guitar. And I was like, yeah. And then he goes, losing my guitar is just like if you lost your banjo. I'm thinking, okay. And I was like, yeah, I guess it would be. And so, so I'm like, do I look like the type of person that apparently owns a banjo or picks a banjo? And let's say I was joking around, I'm like, maybe we should have had an imaginary dueling banjo. Something crazy like that. But, so anyway, yeah. And then he's walking away and he goes, yeah, if the preacher comes in tonight, tell him that little Joey's going to be waiting up on the rim for him. Like, well, will do. So, but yeah, so the craziness, I have all kinds of other crazy stuff. That's just one that popped on my mind. So that's me sounding off right now. So, yeah. All right, in our next feature here, we're going to look with my friend Eric, and we decided we'd do some backyard wrestling. So, as it is, Eric and I are wrestling fans, and as well as another handful of group of my friends that are, like some good old pro wrestling. And so we thought, when we were in high school, this was about our, I'm trying to think, maybe our sophomore, junior year, senior year, actually. Believe it or not, our senior year. We decided that we'd do some backyard wrestling, and we set up our video camera out next to the trampoline to capture some of this. And you can only go so far with wrestling each other, as you can see in our videos here. So then we had to branch out a little bit and move over to wrestling stuffed animals, as it would be. And our first opponent, which the original, and I tell you, he was a rough one. He beat me up pretty well. I've got some scars for life on this thing. But it's Ninja Pooh is what he's called. I mean, he's one bad Pooh Bear, I tell you. And so what he did is I'm sounding like he's alive. No, what we did is, so we had a stuffed animal. It was Pooh, and obviously from the Winnie the Pooh series. Now, I'm not really plugging the Winnie the Pooh series here, but hey, you never know. If you want to YouTube over and check out some Winnie the Pooh, go for it. Anyway, so we took some duct tape and wrapped it around his head, and he was Ninja Pooh, which that was a whole other kind of, Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Ninja Pooh, I mean, it's just flat out crazy. And from there, then we branched out, and we had some wrestling matches with the big gorilla. So, which is another one of our stuffed animals. He was also pretty mean, but as you can see in our videos that are right here, it was pretty nuts. So I'll let you watch it more of our crazy backyard wrestling, and then go from there. Alright, now we finished up looking at our videos of all the crazy stuff with backyard wrestling, as well as how to build your own sled tutorial. Not really a tutorial. Maybe what not to do and not how to break things. But so we're just going to take it off, and so next time on a few episodes, just as a kind of a heads up on what's coming up, I'm thinking that, we'll sit down, maybe my friends will be home this weekend, so we might sit down with them and see what their feelings are about talking about the chair and some backyard wrestling and stuff like that, and branch out and see what happens. Also, we have some plans up to work on the Cup of Joe segment of the show, where it'll be kind of like the cooking show. I think our first step things I'm thinking about doing here is we'll do some homemade pizza I used to make at camp, as well as maybe make some dessert of the scotcheroos that we also do up there. Kind of give you out the recipe, just the tell all behind the scenes look at it. So stay tuned for more.